The position of Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is that of supreme consciousness. The jivas or the living entities, being parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, are also conscious. Both the living entity and material nature are explained as Prakriti, the energy of the Supreme Lord, but one of the two, the jiva, is conscious. The other Prakriti is not conscious. That is the difference. Therefore, the Jiva Prakriti is called superior because the Jiva has consciousness which is similar to the Lord's. The Lord is supreme consciousness. However, one should not claim that the Jiva, the living entity, is also supremely conscious. The living being cannot be supremely conscious at any stage of his perfection, and the theory that can be so is a misleading theory. Conscious he may be, but he is not perfectly or supremely conscious. The distinction between the Jiva and the Ishvara will be explained in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. The Lord is Kshetrajana, conscious as in the living being, but the living being is conscious of his particular body, whereas the Lord is conscious of all bodies. Because he lives in the heart of every living being, he is conscious of the psychic movements of the particular jivas. We should not forget this. It is also explained that Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is living in everyone's heart as Ishvara, as a controller, that he is giving directions for the living entity to act as he desires. The living entity forgets what to do. First of all, he makes a determination to act in a certain way. Then he is entangled in the actions and reactions of his own karma. After giving up one's body, one type of body, he enters another type of body. As we take off and put on clothes, as the soul thus migrates, he suffers the actions and reactions of his past activities. These activities can be changed when the living being is in the mode of goodness, in sanity, and understands what sort of activities he should adopt. If he does so, then all the actions and reactions of his past activity can be changed. Consequently, karma is not eternal. Therefore, we stated that of the 5 items, Iswara, Jiva, Prakriti, time, and karma, 4 are eternal, whereas karma is not eternal. The supreme conscious Iswara is similar to the living entity in his way. In this way, both the consciousness of the Lord and that of the living entity are transcendental. If it is not that consciousness is generated by the association of matter, that is a mistaken idea. The theory that consciousness develops under certain circumstances of material combination is not accepted in the Bhagavad-Gita. Consciousness may be pervertedly reflected by the covering of material circumstances, just as light reflected through color glass may appear to be certain color. But the consciousness of the Lord is not materially affected, just as light. Acha. Lord Krishna says, Maya dhaksena prakriti. When he descends into the material universe, his consciousness is not materially affected. If he were so affected, he would be unfit to speak on transcendental matters as he does in the Bhagavad-Gita. One cannot say anything about the transcendental world without being free from the materially contaminated consciousness. So the Lord is not materially contaminated. Our consciousness at the present moment, however, is materially contaminated. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that we have to purify this materially contaminated consciousness. In pure consciousness, our actions will be dovetailed to the will of the Ishvara, and that will make us happy. It is not that we have to cease all activities. Rather, our activities are to be purified. When we are materially contaminated, we are called conditioned. Fake consciousness, false consciousness is exhibited under the impression that I am a product of material nature. This is called false ego. One who is absorbed in the thought of bodily conceptions cannot understand his situation. Bhagavad-Gita was spoken to liberate one from the bodily conception of life, and Arjuna put himself in this position in order to receive this information from the Lord. One must become free from the bodily conception of life. That is the preliminary activity for the transcendentalist. One who wants to be free, who wants to become liberated, must first of all learn that he is not this material body. Mukti or liberation means freedom from material consciousness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also the definition of liberation is given. Mukti hitvan yatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. Mukti means liberation from the contaminated consciousness of the material world and the situation in pure consciousness. All the instructions of Bhagavad Gita are intended to awaken this pure consciousness, and therefore we find at the last stage of the Gita's instructions that Krishna is asking Arjuna whether he is now in purified consciousness. Purified consciousness means acting in accordance with the instructions of the Lord. This is the wholesome and substance of purified consciousness. Thank you.